this week I'm going to be teaching you two different color changes. One is called the snap change and the other is the Bertham change. We'll get into the Bertham change later. That one has a little bit more background that you should know before getting into it. But for now, let's start with the snap change. You're going to want two cards, preferably contrasting, because when you do these, if the cards aren't contrasting that much, it's not going to be as much of a visual thing for the spectator. So pretty much what you're going to want to do is grab two cards contrasting and pretty much hold them like a double left. Now, the grip for this snap change is like so. The middle finger, the forefinger, and the thumb on the back. And basically what the motion is you're keeping your forefinger still and sort of snapping your middle finger. So when you do that, the forefinger keeps the back card in place while your middle finger pulls the front card out of the way. Now with these color changes, angles are everything. Once you've done the snap change, if you're too high, they're gonna see that card behind it, and if you're too low, or I guess that's high, this is low, but either way you can see your card, same with side to side. One easy way to think about it is, this is Chris Ramsey's advice, not mine. This is me using some of his advice. If you imagine lasers going from each of the sides of the cards to the spectator's eyes, that's the angle. You want those lasers to meet directly with your spectator's eyes. Now with these color changes, they do involve a little bit more advanced sleight of hand. Maybe not more advanced, but you definitely need to know the sleight of hand very, very well, because you need to be able to do it fast. But these color changes are so flashy that there's a little bit more room for error. If you went back to the intro and slowed it down, I think I made like a couple very, very minor mistakes on the Bertham change. I may have made mistakes on the snap change as well, I don't know. Drop the cards there. But they're so quick and so flashy that the spectator's not really going to notice. So there's that little bit room for error there. Anyway, for the snap change, this is sort of a starting grip. You can definitely use this once you've mastered it. Now, once you learn how to do that and get the card behind it and it's a good angle, you're going to speed it up, just ever so slightly, speed it up every time and occasionally you might get this thing where the card goes flying out the back. You'll just need to figure out your own way of dealing with that. You don't want to grip the cards too tightly, because if you do that, then you might get in a situation where the card doesn't go all the way back. You're right here, the card's not all the way behind it, and you don't want to grip it too loosely, because then that back card's going to come flying out. So you find that right pressure and just get used to it. Now, you'll probably also notice when you're doing this that there's that little sound of cards sliding against one another. The way I like to cover that up is by flicking the cards, by creating that sound. That sound masks the sound of the cards slipping against one another. And when you do that, they also expect to hear it. So it's sort of that audio misdirection. You're misdirecting their ears with the flick. So when you do it, it just goes boom. Now, another way of doing this is if your spectator is the more observant type, they might notice that your middle finger disappeared in that act of the card changing. One way to fix that is just by simply holding it like this, and then when you're ready to do the snap change, very quickly bringing out the middle finger and just doing that. That's a little bit harder, just because you need to be able to get the middle finger in exactly the right spot, apply the exact right amount of pressure, but just spend time with it and you can do it. It's not a big deal. And then maybe eventually you'll be able to do it with the snap as well, or with the flick. So yeah, that's pretty much the snap change. You can incorporate that into your routine. So let's say you force their card to the top. Their card is an ace of diamonds. You force that to the top of the deck. You could do a double lift and just say, was that your card? And they'll say no. And just go boom. The cleanup talk about the cleanup for a little bit. You don't want to be stuck in this position with the card back behind. So for the cleanup, you might want the deck. So your deck's going to come behind, and you're just going to place that on top. Place that ace on top of the deck, so you can now free this up. If you don't have the deck, if you place the deck down, that's pretty good. And you get into this position. One way to do it might be like that. I'm trying to remember what I usually do. So you get into this position. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So you get into this position, and then grab, like with palm of your hand, you can grab the card like this, and then place this back card on top. So from that angle of their eyes, they can't tell. And you're just going to straighten them out, and you got a nice clean. So you can pretty much work that into any routine you want. It's up to you. But that's pretty much the snap change. Another way you might be able to do it is you could like grab corners. And I'm not as good as that one. That was a little bit harder for me. I haven't really done that much, but you could like wiggle it and then change. There's also the problem with the finger disappearing, but you can do the same idea with that. Yeah, snap change is a very versatile color change. You can use it on pretty much anything. Alright, now the Bertram change is a slightly more advanced change, and it'll require a little bit more practice. And a couple of prerequisites for it are Tenkai hold. So you're going to be holding the card like this with your thumb and the palm of your hand. You're going to learn how to hold it like that, because that's what's going to give us that nice change. Again, 2 contrasting cards helps a lot. So what you're going to start with is, I always like with this color change, I like to use a convincer. What a convincer is basically trying to prove to the audience that one card is 2 cards. So like usual, I've got 2 cards here, and I'm going to hold it like this with fingers on the corners, and index finger should be able to reach the top. And what you're going to do with that, you actually want to hold it like this so that the back of the cards will be facing the spectator. Your index finger is going to come to the top and twist this around until it's on the back, and then use them a little bit more until you're in this position. And hold the deck like this. Now from here, you're in a perfect sort of hold to be able to move into extracting the back card into Tenkai, and holding it like this. So basically, just go and do that. Convincer, you absolutely do not need to do this convincer if you don't want to. But if you want to just skip this part of the video, this is the hold that you want to get into. This is hold right here. So once you go into this hold with middle and index finger on each side of the card, you're going to sort of twist it like this. You might want to know how to do the snap change, because you're going to do that same sort of motion of pulling this card out and into Tenkai. Do that convincer. And do this sort of like smoothing out. That also might be helpful to square up the cards if you maybe let them split a little bit. Twist it like this, and while you're doing that twist, you are going to extract this back card into Tenkai, like this. What that looks like from the audience's perspective is I'm holding it down here, I do this, bring it back here, and now, when I'm twisting this card, I've extracted this card into Tenkai. It's completely invisible when you do that. So once you've extracted that card, the other card like this. Now from here, they can't see the card in this hand. Your arm is blocking it. So what you're going to do is bring your hand up and push the card underneath this thumb. So from here, so once again, extract, and then right here, you're going to push this card underneath that. And then this motion is straightening that card out. So I'm going to go through the full thing very slowly. Start with this, do the convincer, and straighten out. That straightening out part might take a little bit of practice, and that's the part that I might have messed up on a little bit in the intro, but it was just so slight that you couldn't notice by looking at it at full speed. So from the audience's perspective, again, holding it down here, cards facing them, do the little convincer thing. Now right here I split that because I was doing in slow motion. When you're doing this convincer fast, the cards don't split. So what they did there, but that was also a little bit slower as well. So once you do this in full motion, cards don't split. Come up here, and when I'm in this motion, I'm extracting a card right now, but they don't see that. I now have a card in 10 cut. And here, I'm pushing the card under my right thumb and straightening it out. So full motion from the audience's perspective, right here. Messed that up, sorry, flashed a little bit there. It's harder on camera than it is with real life audiences. There you go. Once again, like that sort of cleanup as you're doing this motion might be a little bit difficult. One thing that might help is, so I'm in 10 high right now, and push that under there. This vertical motion is lining the cards up on the long edge. There's also the matter of lining the cards up on the short edge, and that you can do that by using your thumb. That one's going to have to be a bit more eyeball. You're going to have to eyeball that a little bit more. So, right here, extract. A little bit of background in the Bertram change. Sleight of hand has existed for a long time. I don't know how long, but at least 100 years. And this guy named Bertram, funnily enough, wrote a book on sleight of hand. I don't have it with me, but he was one of the greats in original sleight of hand magic. He was big into coin magic as well, so if you want to do more coin magic, you might want to look into getting that book. It is pretty hard to find because it's a really old book, but if you're into that sort of thing and you're willing to spend the money, then go for it. Yeah, so that's the Bertram change. If you want maybe a little bit more comprehensive run through of it, go check out Chris Ramsey. Again, Chris Ramsey is mostly where I get most of my card tricks and add in my notes, and some of his there as well. He's a very good magician. He has a lot better camera setup than this. My old 2000 and what, I don't know how old this is, iPad. But yeah, just work on these. These are very, very good to work into your routine, to just do standalone. And they're just generally two of my favorite flashy tricks to do. I always get great reactions from them, and if you can learn it right, then great.